Welcome back to the deep dive.
Good to be here.
Right, so we're aiming, as always, to cut through the noise, get you the essential knowledge from the sources we've got stacked up here.
Absolutely.
And today, wow, we are really diving deep into something complex, an interstellar conflict that was, well, it was more than just a military invasion.
Oh, much more. It was fundamentally an ideological war. We're talking about the devastating early stages of the Yuuzhan Vong invasion.
Right, the Vong.
Yeah. And our mission today, looking at these sources, is really to pull out the key insights. Understand this?
Right.
Like completely alien threat. But also, and this is critical, how the galaxy's own response, the government, even the Jedi Order, kind of immediately started to buckle.
Yeah, it seems like a collapse from within almost as much as a threat from without.
Exactly. The sources, they really lay out like a three-front war. You've got the big philosophical clash, Jedi versus Vong biotech beliefs. Then there's the political betrayal, people actually helping the enemy. And finally, this ideological split tearing the Jedi Order apart.
Okay, let's start with that first one, the philosophy. Because that really sets the Vong apart, doesn't it? Their view on machines.
It defines them. They see machines, droids, anything inorganic as literal abominations. It's a core tenet of their religion.
So not just dislike, but like religiously offensive.
Precisely. For the Vong, true existence has to be organic, shaped, living. And this is where the ideological war kicks off immediately. They aren't just conquering planets, they're imposing this belief.
And we see that right away.
Oh, yeah. One of the first demands is often for droids to be destroyed. And this forces people like Dorsk-82, he's a Comite clone, sees droids almost as brothers into these impossible positions, risking everything just to protect machines.
Because the Vong want to basically erase technology from the galaxy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is the foundation of everything the Republic is built on.
And it's not just a philosophy. They back it up with some, frankly, terrifying living technology. Can you give us a sense of how alien their military actually is?
Well, this is the core thing the sources highlight. The Vong forced this fight to be about ideology versus ideology, not just tech versus tech. They're ships, living creatures. They call them coral skippers.
No.
Living ships.
Yeah, grown from coral. They use organic crystals, lambent crystals for like lights and controls. And crucially, they have these organisms called Yavin basil. Think of them as organic gravity well projectors.
So they can pull ships out of hyperspace using biology.
That's right. Organic black holes, essentially. Even their standard weapons are alive. Like the amphistaff, it's this snake-like creature they wield that spits venom.
Okay, so they're literally fighting with life itself.
They are waging war with manipulated biology. No circuits, no wires. It's a completely different paradigm. Which makes the response from the New Republic even more, well, confusing. You'd expect a unified front, but instead we see this political mess that seems to actively help the Vong. Tell us about the Peace Brigade.
The Peace Brigade. They're a really grim example of internal betrayal. The sources use this chilling term, flesh merchants.
Yeah.
Flesh merchants.
Yeah. Collaborators, just, regular citizens who decided to profit from the invasion by capturing Jedi and handing them over to the Vong.
How did they even manage that? Jedi aren't easy to catch.
Well, what's really disturbing is the intelligence they seem to have. It suggests they had high-level contacts feeding them info. The sources even speculate, maybe even in the Senate.
So this wasn't just random opportunism, it was coordinated.
It looks like treason, yeah. Coordinated treason.
And that kind of betrayal seems to filter right up to the top, doesn't it? With the chief of state, Thalia, he seemed determined to just look the other way. The sources strongly point towards, looking the other way. Or worse. It seems less like genuine panic and more like a calculated political move. Trying to avoid mass hysteria, maybe protect his own position.
How did he spin it?
He minimized the threat constantly. Argued the Vong taking key places like Yavin 4 was just, temporary. Then he shifted blame onto the Jedi themselves.
Onto the Jedi? How?
Claimed they were engaged in unsanctioned activity. Questioned why they needed help when they'd supposedly spurned the Senate before. It's classic political deflection.
And that basically gave the Vong, what, a green light?
Pretty much. A free pass to keep pushing, keep doing their ideological purge without facing a united galaxy.
So the political side is a disaster. But the sources show the Jedi Order wasn't exactly holding together either. It sounds like they were imploding internally.
The pressure was immense. The atmosphere described as one of, panic, grief. The sources say the unshakable had shaken.
Luke Skywalker.
Even Master Skywalker. There's this moment where Anakin Solo, his nephew, notices him having this brief flicker of, weakness. And masters were dying. Dorsk 82, Desherikor, Swiljafen, Jedi were being hunted.
And probably blamed too, right? Like Corranhorn.
Exactly. Slanderously blamed for the destruction of Aethor. The media turned on them. The government wasn't helping. It was a perfect storm.
And that storm breaks into this huge ideological fight within the Order itself. Luke Skywalker versus Kip Duran.
Yeah, a massive split.
And Luke, the galaxy's hero, gets accused of, what? Going soft? Becoming Kenobi?
That comparison becoming Kenobi, yeah, that must have hit hard. It spoke to this fundamental disagreement on how you fight an evil like the Vong. Luke's position was caution, morality.
Anger is not the answer. Attack is not the answer.
Right. His focus was defense, keeping calm, logistics, getting students evacuated, using smugglers like Booster Tarek and Talon Card with the errant venture as a safe ship, preservation.
The Kip comes in with a much more aggressive message.
He offers the appealing alternative when you feel abandoned. His argument is basically offense against evil is defense. He's pushing for preemptive strikes.
Saying the Jedi have to fight because no one else will.
Exactly. And that message resonated. It got applause. It caused a real split, especially among the younger Jedi. Jaina and Anakin Solo, they admit Kip made a certain amount of sense.
And Anakin Solo, he seems particularly drawn to Kip's side. He's carrying a lot, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. The sources paint him as loaded with grief and guilt. Chewbacca's death, the mess at Fondor, it's eating at him.
And that grief is close to something darker.
Yeah, the text says it's a micron away from anger and hatred. He feels misunderstood, especially by the older Jedi like Luke. So Kip's call for action, for hitting back, it's tempting, even with Luke warning him about the dark side.
But Luke isn't just reacting. He has this moment with Mara, his wife, where he shares a vision, right?
Yeah.
Suggests he sees a bigger picture.
He does. It's a heavy burden. He tells Mara he has this sense that the ultimate end to this war won't be me that ends it, or Kip. It will be someone new.
Wow. So even as he's managing the immediate crisis, he foresees a longer, different kind of struggle.
Yeah, realizing the solution lies beyond the current generation, beyond the established masters. That's a profound weight to carry.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit to the Vong themselves. They aren't just a single mass, right? There's an internal structure. The Shapers.
The Shapers are absolutely critical to understanding the Vong. They're the bioengineers. Figures like Mejong Quad, Nenyim, they hold immense power.
Why so much power?
Because in Vong society, they are seen as being nearest the great god Yuuzhan. They shape everything, the ships, the weapons, and, chillingly, the fates of their prisoners.
And this is where we get into some really dark territory. The captured Jedi, Sul-Jafan and Tahiri Vela.
Yeah, Sul-Jafan is sacrificed, basically. But Tahiri, she's taken alive, taken to what they call a Damatek, the sacred Vong place, to be shaped.
Shaped, you mean? Brainwashed.
More than brainwashed. It's like resculpting her mind. The sources use this term trellised memories. They implant a whole new Vong identity onto her Rena Quad, complete with Vong scars and, crucially, dark side impulses.
So they're not just killing Jedi, they're trying to turn them into weapons using their Force sensitivity.
Exactly. Corrupting the connection to the Force itself. It's a horrifying new kind of weapon.
And the fundamental problem for the Jedi is they can't even feel the Vong coming, right? That Force blindness.
Precisely. The Vong and all their biotech, they exist outside the Force, as the Jedi understand it. The area around them feels murky, like a void. But here's a twist.
Okay.
The Vong aren't immune to internal problems either. Mejong Quad, this powerful shaper, and her apprentice Nenyim, they're actually involved in Vong heresy.
Heresy within that kind of rigid religious structure.
Yes. They're secretly exploring something called the Super Protocol.
Yeah.
Basically, trying to gain new biological knowledge and mastery without going through the proper religious channels, without consulting the gods.
So intellectual curiosity is undermining their own system.
Kind of, yeah. The very architects of Vong power are introducing this, like ideological weakness, through their ambition, and that's ultimately what gives an opening.
An opening for Anakin Solo through this unlikely alliance with Vua Rapuung. Who is this guy?
Rapuung is fascinating. He's a disgraced Vong warrior, one of the shamed ones. Mejong Quad herself ruined him, had his implants and scars rotted out because of some forbidden relationship he had.
So he wants revenge.
Not just simple revenge. He wants public vindication. His goal is to force Mejong Quad to publicly admit she caused his shaming, to prove he wasn't truly shamed by the gods.
So it's about restoring his honor, his place in their society.
Exactly. It's an ideological goal, not just a military one. And that makes him a perfect, if incredibly dangerous, ally against the Shaper hierarchy. Which leads us to the climax of this particular arc. Anakin's mission back to Yavin 4. Unauthorized, desperate. Totally off the books. A massive gamble.
How does he even begin to pull it off?
Pure audacity, mostly. He uses leftover Jedi defense tech to create illusions, make it seem like the temple is still heavily defended. Classic bluff.
But the biggest risk is working with Rapuung.
Absolutely. He has to fully commit. Rapuung surgically implants a Vong coral growth onto Anakin so he can pose as a slave, calls himself Bail Lars. He has to go deep undercover inside the Vong's sacred area to reach Tahiri.
And the mission immediately starts costing lives, doesn't it?
It does. Master Ikrit, the small ancient Jedi master, guides the escape plan but ultimately sacrifices himself, creates a diversion.
But he leaves Anakin with something crucial.
Yeah, he tells Anakin his death is part of his destiny, but more importantly, he emphasizes the synergy between Anakin and Tahiri. Tells Anakin they are better than the sum of their parts together.
And we see that synergy almost immediately.
It's an incredible moment. Anakin and Tahiri, fueled by desperation and their connection, briefly fuse their force abilities. It creates this hurricane of power.
They literally weaponize the environment.
Yeah, they rip huge Masasi trees right out of the ground and hurl them like missiles, destroying a Vong Corvette. It's raw, unconventional, and hints at a new way to fight back.
But even that wouldn't have been enough without outside help. The smugglers Luke contacted earlier, Talon Card?
Card proves invaluable. He refuses to cut and run, uses his network's superior intel, guerrilla tactics, and there's this brilliant detail: his crew uses Yuuzhan creatures.
Yuuzhan? What are they?
They're related to Vornstries, the animals from Merc that hunt using the Force, but Yuuzhan actually seem to repel it, create a sort of Force null bubble. Cardist people use them defensively.
Weaponizing the galaxy's own weird biology against the Vong's weird biology.
Exactly. It shows Card's strategic thinking.
Yeah.
And it leads to this moment where one of his key people, Shada, makes this calculated sacrifice using her ship, the Idiot's Array, to take down a much larger Vong destroyer-type vessel.
Incredible sacrifice. And then finally the real cavalry arrives.
Right when things look bleakest. The family shows up, Jaina and Jason Solo, along with Corran, who Jason had found through meditation, and they don't come alone.
Big guns.
Big guns, including, the sources strongly imply, Booster Terex captured Imperial Star Destroyer, the Errant Venture, bringing overwhelming firepower to the rescue.
So the extraction succeeds, but the confrontation with Mezan Quad, it's unsettling, deeply. She's cornered, Rapuung confronts her, and she just breaks, screams her heresy out loud. "There are no gods!" Admits she ruined Rapuung. So Rapuung gets his vindication.
He does. But then, Tahiri steps forward, uses Anakin's lightsaber,
Yeah.
and she kills Mezan Quad.
But it's not a clean victory moment for her.
No. The sources describe her expressing this disturbed joy in the act. She's rescued, but she's clearly damaged, confused, fighting these dark impulses the Vong implanted.
And Anakin sees this.
He does, and he makes this choice. He decides he can't leave her like this. He stays with her to help her heal, protect her. He promises her that if you still want to go, we go.
Yeah.
Together.
So wrapping this up for you, the listener, what's the big picture here? I mean, one takeaway seems to be about how conflict redefines morality. Good versus evil gets blurry when the enemy is this alien.
Yeah, and it forces these incredibly unconventional alliances. Anakin teaming up with a disgraced enemy warrior like Rapuung, the Jedi relying on smugglers like Carday. Necessity breeds strange partnerships.
So survival demands flexibility, even moral flexibility sometimes.
It seems that way. But the other key insight, I think, is that the real threat wasn't just external. The Vong invasion almost succeeded because of the internal collapse.
You mean the Peace Brigade, the Jedi split?
Exactly. That internal rot mirrors the weaknesses inside the Vong themselves, the Shaper heresy, Rapuung's political grievance. It shows that even this force, seemingly outside the Force, outside galactic norms, is vulnerable to internal politics, ideology, power struggles.
The internal battlefield was just as important as the external one?
Maybe more so.
Okay, that's a powerful point. And for our final thoughts, something for you to chew on. The source material mentions Mezan Quad's rival shaper, someone named Yalfaper.
Right.
And this Yalfath is apparently leaving Yavin 4 to go oversee the shaping of animals from Merc.
Merc, home of the Vornskar.
The force-hunting and force-repelling creatures. So what happens when the enemy starts weaponizing the galaxy's own natural defenses against the Force? Turning force-nullifying creatures into weapons against the Jedi.
That's a terrifying prospect.
And who, then, is the someone new Luke Skywalker foresaw would be the one to actually end this war? Ponder that combination as we close out this deep dive.